In this video, I will take you to test the cutting performance of Sculptfun S9 on 10mm acrylic, 10mm plywood and 15mm wood, and recommended cutting parameters and precautions for everyone.
Look at what you've done. Stand still, falling away from me.
In ordinary laser engraving and laser cutting of thinner profiles, we generally use a fixed focus height column to align the focus of the laser to the surface of the profile. When cutting thick profiles, because the closer to the laser focus, the higher the laser energy, I suggested to align the focus to a position slightly above the half of the thick profile. The laser protective cover will affect the normal operation of the machine and can be removed first. Remember to wear safety goggles after removing the laser shield. Protect eyes. Now open Laser Garball. We use an image like this. Drag into Laser Garball, select centerline. Next, and prepare to adjust the parameters. We tested cutting acrylic first, realigning the laser focus. Now go back to the Laser Garball. The speed is 100 mm per minute, the maximum power 1000. It means 100% intensity. The width of the plate is 100 mm, and for the convenience of cutting, the size of the drawing is 110 mm. Connect the laser and adjust the sheet position.
So you give me no reason.
Back to Laser Garball. Modify the number of cuts to 40. And start cutting. Thick acrylic requires a very powerful laser to cut through, so we need to set a very slow cutting speed to build up the heat.
Now I'm holding on. What you said was never enough for me. Gotta be so strong. There's a power in what you do. Now every other day I've been watching you. I'll show you what it feels like. Now I'm on the outside. We did everything right. Now I'm on the outside.
Most of the left part has been cut through. After wearing goggles, you can clearly see the laser spot on the table after cutting through.
Everything right. Now I'm on the outside.
The acrylic has been cut, and it took 20 minutes and 8 seconds to cut 18 times. Next we start testing cutting plywood. Realign focus. Go back to the Laser Garball and reopen the file. Set the speed to 700 mm per minute.
It's never for us to choose.
Correct the plywood position.
I'm holding on.
Back to Laser Garball. Modify the number of cuts to 40. And start cutting. When cutting plywood, burning should be avoided if the speed is too slow. Not only does it affect aesthetics, moreover, the carbon deposits produced by charring will also affect the normal cutting work. Reduce cutting efficiency.
We did everything right. Now I'm on the outside. I'll show you what it feels like. Now I'm on the outside. We did everything right. Now I'm on the outside.
Since there may be some impurities that are difficult to penetrate by the laser in the glue layer of the plywood, the normal cutting work is hindered. Usually we need to disconnect the connection there by hand or with a blade. This time I cut about 21 times. It took 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Finally we started the test of cutting wood. Realign focus. Go back to the Laser Garball and reopen the file. Since wood is easier to scorch, we raised the speed again to 1000 mm per minute, while lowering the power to 850. To avoid scorching. Proofreading wood position. We start by giving 40 cuts. Because the 15mm board is thicker, runs faster, and the laser power is not fully loaded, it is somewhat difficult to complete the cutting within 40 times. But after 40, as long as we don't move the laser or the board with our hands, we can continue to increase the number until the cut is complete.
So you give me no reason for me to stay close to you. Tell me what love is still. How are we still breathing? It's never for us to choose or be the strength in you. Now I'm holding on. What you said was never enough for me. Gotta be so strong. There's a power in what you do. Now every other day I'll be watching you. I'll show you what it feels like. Now I'm on the outside. We did everything right. Now I'm on the outside. I'll show you what it feels like.
This time we cut 33 times, and it took 4 minutes and 15 to complete the cutting of the wood. Here are some cutting tips for you. If the board to be cut and the tabletop are very flat, it will be difficult for us to observe the separation of the part to be cut and the board. At this time, we can place thin wood pieces of the same height on the 4 corner pads of the board. If you want to keep the internal cutting graphics, it is not recommended to raise too much. 1 mm to 2 mm is enough. The finished part of the cut will automatically drop, which is very convenient to observe the completion of the cut.
I'll show you what it feels like.
More than 98% of the cutting can be completed. Use auxiliary tools to disconnect the remaining few connections, which can save a lot of cutting time. With too many connected products like this, it's hard to save even with a blade. Can only be scrapped.
Right now I'm on the outside.
First set the number of cuts to 2, and let's take a look at the cutting operation of the laser garball. In a laser garball, it does not start the next pass until all paths have been run through one pass. 2 cuts can't be done, so we can continue to increase the number of times, enough to make cuts in one go. Of course, if there are too many times and you forget to watch, it will undoubtedly increase the possibility of fire, so don't stay away from your engraving machine.
For me to stay close to you. Tell me
When all the parts have fallen off, it can be controlled in advance in the software.
it's never for us to choose.
Now let's take another look at how Lightburn cuts work, setting the number of cuts to 10.
What you said was never enough for me.
The laser will cut a short path 10 times in a loop, and it will not start the next path until 10 times are completed. If the board finishes cutting ahead of time, you have no way to control it to start the next path. If the number of times is set too much, it will be wasted plenty of time. In Lightburn, we can use a small number of many methods to cut. Duplicate the paths after grouping and place the new paths on a new layer. Continue to duplicate and place on a new layer. You can repeat this step. Adjust the number of cuts for each layer according to the actual situation, 1 to 3 times. Don't forget to adjust the speed and power of all layers. If the sheet to be cut needs a lot of cutting times, you can also make a copy. Give it a relatively large number of cutting times, and place it on the top layer. You can control whether this layer is enabled or not through the button switch at the back. Since the plywood is thinner, and I can close it.
I'll show you what it feels like.
Now the laser will cut a path twice according to the program of layer 0. After that, it will start cutting the next path. After layer 0 is cut, it will automatically execute the procedure of layer 1. Due to the poor quality of this one plywood, the top layer was peeled. It's okay, keep cutting.
We did everything right. Now I'm on the outside.
Basically all the parts have been dropped now. But this is the last lap, let the program stop on its own. If the sheet is not cut through, you can start the cut command again, and the laser will repeat the previous path cut. But I have finished cutting here, so I have to end the program manually. Using Air Assist can quickly remove the residue produced by burning and greatly improve the cutting efficiency. You can join our official group to exchange modification experience with other users, or you can wait for a while, we will launch officially designed air assist accessories. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helps you. Subscribe to our YouTube account. I will continue to update other engraving machine instructional videos and the latest product information for you.